Audio Jungle.
Welcome to Opera Property Management System Training. Today we're going to learn how to run the night audit in Opera. The things that we're going to learn today is I'm going to show you what to check before you run the night audit by looking at the house status screen, looking at your due outs and arrivals. I will show you how to close your cashier. I'm going to have you check for property management rooms or PM rooms to make sure that they are either checked in or checked out. I will show you how to print batch registration cards. I will show you how to print batch folios. I will also show you how to set up a wake-up call in Opera. And I'll also show you how to run the night audit and look for the night audit reports. So think about what the person that works overnight does, the different tasks that have been assigned to the hotel or by the hotel to the night audit person. So this person usually works overnight from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. and they usually roll the date or run the night audit in Opera to post room and tax. But there's a lot of tasks that have to be done before the night audit rolls. I will show you a few things that you need to do in Opera, and I'm sure the management will also have other items for the night audit person to do. So in Opera, a couple things that you want to check before you roll the night audit. First thing I always like to do is look at the house status screen. So I'm going to click on Shift F3 and it will bring up our house status screen. A couple things that I would look at if I was the night auditor is I want to look at arrivals expected. We still have one arrival due in yet. And I would also look at departures expected. Before you can run the night audit, the departures expected has to be at 0. Okay. Also, I would look at if I have rooms inspected. So if I had any walk-ins, that I have rooms to put them in. So I have 13 rooms that are inspected, 93 on dirty. So I do have 13 available to use for walk-ins. If I want to see what arrivals I have coming in, remember we had one. You can click on front desk, click on arrivals, click on search, and it would show 2 arrivals that I have coming in yet. If you notice, one of the arrivals is a posting master. A posting master is usually connected to a group block, and if there's any billing that is going to happen to that posting master, maybe you have a group in-house of 15, 20 people, and all their room and tax is going to be routed to the posting master, then you want to make sure that that posting master is checked in, so that when the room and tax is posted and there is routing set up, it will have somewhere to go. So first of all, let's go ahead and check in the posting master. So I'm going to highlight the posting master, and you have a check-in button over on the right here. We're going to click on check-in, and it tells me the Opera Training Retreat posting master has been checked in successfully. So now we have one arrival left to come in. So I'm going to leave that one there. If this person does not show up before we run the night audit, Opera will automatically no-show this reservation. And after we run the night audit, I will show you how to find the no-show reservation, and I will show you how to post no-show charges to that reservation if the hotel chooses to charge the person for a no-show. I'm going to close out of here. Another thing I want to point out is you also may have posting master rooms checked in, or we also may have one called the lost interface posting room. So if I go to front desk and I click on in-house, and the posting master rooms or the posting interfaces rooms are used differently at the hotels. We have what's called in an Opera what we call the lost interface posting room. Now, this account is used when a room charge cannot be posted to its target room number because maybe the room has been checked out. The charge is posted to the lost interface posting account to be posted to the correct guest room or adjusted off. This is usually in Opera as a PI account. So if I go to Advanced and I want to see if I have any PI accounts, I go to the room type and I choose PI and click Search. It shows I have a few posting interface rooms. Notice here I have the lost interface room. It's checked in. And then I also have some other posting interface accounts. These posting interface accounts are used to record revenue posted by a POS system or another interface in Opera. So if your hotel wants to gather all the information from the POS system, so if a guest comes to your restaurant, they charge to their American Express or their Visa or their MasterCard. When they close out the check in the POS system, that charge and that payment will post to these POS posting master rooms. So once you run the audit, it will show how much money you made in the restaurant using the American Express, how much money was made posted to the MasterCard, same thing to the Visa. So it's just a collecting device that uses it to record revenue that's posted from the POS systems. If these are due out, you can automatically set it up so that when you run the night audit, it will automatically check out these POS accounts and the lost interface. And once the audit is ran, it will check them automatically back in. In configuration, under the room type for PM, there's a checkbox that will allow automatically check-in during the night audit process. So you'll have to check to see if your hotel has set that up. Okay, couple other types of posting masters or posting interface rooms that you might have. If we type in the room type PM and click search, we can also see that we've checked in the posting master for the Opera Training Retreat. And there's also a couple posting masters here for promo accounts and sales account that maybe your hotel staff charges to when maybe they're entertaining a potential customer. They take them to the restaurant and then they charge that the charge to the promo account or to the sales account. And then at the end of the month, maybe the front desk or the night auditor or accounting would adjust those postings off. But this is just a way to capture that information from the POS system. Okay. So I'm going to close out of the in-house. Now, let's talk about the night audit process a little bit here. At the end of each day, the hotel will run the end of day or night audit procedure, which posts room and tax to guest rooms. It settles accounts, generates financial and hotel statistics into reports, and rolls the system over to the next business day. The end of day process is required in order for the hotel to check out guests. In Opera, the end of day function will do all of the following automatically once the process is started by the user. However, there are some pre-night audit procedures that must be completed before running the actual night audit process. The number of pre-night audit procedures required depends on the complexity of the hotel and requirements of management and accounting. Okay, so before we run the night audit, I just want to walk you through a couple things that you may need to do when you run the night audit. Some items that the night audit is required to do is some hotels will print out registration cards for the next day for everybody that's arriving. So if you want to do that before you run the night audit, you could. So if you click on reservations, you click on registration cards, and notice it looks at tomorrow's date because it knows the Opera PMS system is on 6/1 and it's looking for reg cards for tomorrow. So you could choose tomorrow's date, choose the registration form or card that you want to print out. It's going to print out for individual reservation and group block reservations. If you only wanted certain ones, you could put like from A to H, and it would only bring up the reg cards that last name starts with A through H. You can only print VIP codes if you wanted to, and then you can sort them alphabetically or by room number. To print the registration cards automatically, you could just click on the print button, or you can click on view to view them first before you print them. And close out of the registration cards. Another task that the Night Auditor may do is by printing out all the folios for all the guests that are departing tomorrow. And if you're a hotel that puts the folios maybe under the door or on the door, then you would want to print out the batch folios ahead of time and then have somebody go put them under the door or tag them on the door. To be able to print your batch folios ahead of time, we're going to click on cashiering, and we're going to go to cashier functions. And within cashier functions, we have a button called batch folios. To print your batch folios, you're going to click on the button for batch folios, and we're going to request your Opera password to get you into the batch folios. Now, to run the batch folios, first you have to choose the guest that you want to print out for the batch folios. So we want to choose folios for guests departing tomorrow. I'm going to choose next. We would like to choose the interim bill. If you want the system to advance the bill, meaning it would put a total on there and it would also post room and tax on the bill before you run the audit, you could. And click next. You have three choices how to sort it. You would probably sort it in room number order. You could choose all guests, only your VIP guests, maybe your group members, non-groups, all companies. I'm going to choose all guests. I'm going to choose next. Normally, I would like the guests that pay by cash or check to come down to the front desk to check out. So I'm going to only choose for only credit cards that the guests have put down on the front desk. So it would only print out the batch folios for the guests that had a credit card. You could simulate a zero balance and it would show a zero balance on the actual folio. If you want to do that, you can check that box. I'm going to click next, and my next choice is I only want to print out the folio windows that are billed to the guest. So if the guest is direct billed, I do not want to print out the folio that shows the direct bill amount. I'm going to choose next. This will give you a list of all the guests departing tomorrow. And we can print the folio. We could email them if you wanted to. And if you wanted to print them out, we would just click Print Folio and click on Process, and it would print those folios out for you. Okay. Another thing you might do when you're working overnight is you might get some calls that guests are requesting a wake-up call. Now, depending on if your property uses the wake-up call module in Opera, they might have a different way that they put the wake-up call. You might have a phone system that you put the wake-up call on. But if you want to track it in Opera, you can click on Reservation. Under Front Desk, there's a button called Wake-up Calls. So let's say a guest calls down and wanted to place a wake-up call. You click on the wake-up call button. You click on New. Click on the drop-down where it says Room, and notice it takes you to an in-house guest search screen. So if I click on Search, it shows everybody that is in-house. Let's say room 117 is calling down, and they would like a wake-up call. So I mark 117, click on Select. Then it wants to know what time is their request. So if they're requesting a 6:45 wake-up call, type in 6:45. And if they want a follow-up call, let's say they want one 15 minutes later, you can put 7 there. You can put notes for the wake-up call, or you can leave it blank. I'm going to click on OK. And now, since this call was set for tomorrow, which would be 6/2, I'm going to change my date, choose June 2nd, click OK, and search, and it shows the wake-up calls that I have pending for tomorrow. I have one at 6:45, I have one at 7, I have another follow-up at 7, and a follow-up at 7:15. If you notice on the right, on the wake-up call, you could go to the guest profile from here, you could go to the guest reservation from here, and you could also print a report. So you can have a report printed out. Because a lot of times the hotel will print out the report so they have a backup of all the requests that guest had requested for a wake-up call. So I'm going to close out of the wake-up call area, and it takes me back to the main screen. A couple other things you might want to check. You might want to see if you have any traces left over that have not been done. So you could go to front desk, you could click on traces, and we show one trace that has not been resolved. So for this person's room, Pull Along, it shows that they need to deliver an amenity to the guest. So if you have somebody on that needs to do that, then you could request that trace to be completed. Okay, before you run the night audit, you also want to check to make sure, check any postings that you have made. You want to count your cash drawer to make sure you're balanced. And the next thing before you run the audit, you would want to close out your cashier. So if you want to close out your cashier, so when closing your cashier, the cashier functions in this area in Opera where the user actually closes out their shift and cashier. Each Opera user that has access to post and check in and check out guest reservations will be assigned a unique cashier ID that is attached to the Opera user ID. Okay? Once the user is finished with their shift and has reviewed appropriate closing paperwork, they can finalize this by going to the cashier shift functions and closing their shift. So if I click on cashiering here, I click on Cashier Shift Functions, and then I'm going to click on Cashier Shift Close. Now notice the cashier ID that my login has been assigned, and each person that has a login in Opera and they are allowed to go into cashier billing, they will also have a cashier ID attached to their login. You put in your Opera password, and then that will take you to the cashier close summary screen. So what this screen shows you is just a summary of what you have done today. Notice I took in a check for $2,500. I also took in a deposit to transfer at check-in. So I had 2 items there. If I want to close my cashier, I'm going to click on OK. It takes me to the cashier closure drop. Notice I did not take any cash in. I did not post any paid outs. I have one check that I need to deposit for $2,500. I'm going to click on OK. It's going to prompt me to tell you that says, please verify your cash drop before closing. And I just want to know if it's correct. I'm going to say yes. Do you want to print out your cashier reports? Normally, I would say yes. So on the cashier reports, it would show you the cash that was taken in, if you took any credit cards in, if you posted any advanced deposits, if you posted any payments. So these are all separate reports that will print out once you close out your cashier. I'm going to say no, and it tells me my cashier is closed. If you want to reprint your cashier reports, we can go back to cashiering, to cashier shift functions, and we can choose to reprint reports. You would find your cashier ID. Remember, mine was 9999. Put in the date that I would like to reprint my cashier reports. And then I can print them again. Okay, so now since your cashier has been closed, if somebody came to the front desk and you needed to post a payment, it would ask you to reopen your cashier again. Okay, so if before the night audit, somebody came up, maybe you had 2 or 3 check-ins and you posted some cash, then we would want you to close out your cashier one more time before you ran the night audit. Okay, so we've checked our due-ins. We have 1 arrival left to come in. The front desk and arrivals. Okay, so that person, if we roll the date right now, this person will no-show in Opera. We've checked our house status screen by going to Shift F3. We do not have any departures expected. Now, if we had posting masters or posting interface rooms that were due out, they would not show up under this departures expected. Okay, so now we are ready to run the night audit. So to run the night audit in Opera, you have an end of day button, or you can go to the word end of day at the top. So we're going to click on end of day. You have a button called Night Audit. We'll click on Night Audit. It takes us to the end of day login. If you notice, your login and password is already there as your property name and the business date that you want to run the night audit. We're going to run the night audit for 6/1, and we're going to click on Login. It verifies the desk space, and then it takes you to a screen where it shows you the end of day routine. So, what usually occurs during the night audit process, so you start the Opera end of day process, like we did, we select the end of day, we logged in, put our password in, we chose the business day, and then when you're ready to run the night audit, you're going to click on Start, and then it will ask you, do you want, these are guests that have checked in that do not have the state on their profile. You could go into each profile and add the information. If you do not want to do that, you can just click Close. Next, it takes you to the arrivals that have not checked in. So remember, this arrival has not arrived yet. Notice here it says guests who have not arrived yet will be listed as no-show. So we could check them in here if you wanted to, if you were a property that checks in your arrivals. Or I'm going to go ahead and click Close, and it will automatically no-show it. Then it says, do you want to open the cashier? I'm going to say yes to run the night audit. And then it takes us to an in-house screen to rooms that are due out. Notice that these are all due out. These are posting interface rooms. Notice you have a button to check all the rooms out that are on a 0 balance. So I'm going to choose check out 0, and it will go through and check out all these rooms. Notice they've been checked out. I click on Close, and then it asks you if you want to close your cashier. I'm going to say yes again. I haven't posted anything since I opened my cashier, so there's nothing there to post. Notice I have 0 cash, 0 checks, so I will click on OK. Please verify your cash drop before closing. And I'm not going to print my cashier report. My cashier is closed. It takes you to the end of day notes screen, so you could add notes. Maybe you can put notes in there. This will show up on the front page of the reports that print out during the night audit. It's kind of the title page. So you could print maybe the group that was in. There's 3 people that have not checked in yet. Maybe some problems that you were having during the night, so accounting knows the next day. I'm going to click on OK. And now it's going to roll the business date. If minutes to wait before rolling the business date, it's going to be 1 minute. So what's going to happen is if anybody is logged into Opera, it will kick them out of Opera until the business date is rolled. So if you have a PBX operator that is logged in, it will freeze their screen, it will kick them out, and then they will have to log out of Opera and log back in, and then the date will be changed on their PC. So I'm going to click on OK, and it's going to send out a message to anybody that is logged into Opera saying the business date will be rolled. Please log out. So we'll wait while it's broadcasting the message, and pretty soon it will post the room and tax for us. It's removing temporary work files, tells us to wait, so it's doing the no-show. And now it's going to post room and tax to everybody that is in-house. Posted room and tax. Now it's running the additional procedures. If you notice that the status here is completed in green, if there's a procedure that fails during the night audit process, the status will change to into a red color, and it will say error. If you run into any problems, any errors during your night audit process, then you would need to call our 800 helpline or support. It is 1-800-937-2211. So it's running the additional procedures here during the night audit process, and we will let it run. So now it is completing the end of day procedures, and now it went to print the final reports. So I did not have any reports there to print because I have shut them off for the training, but it would print your final reports now. Notice we've gotten to the last part of the end of day routine here. We're done with the end of day routine. I'm going to click on OK. It takes me back to the Opera page, the web page. So it has taken us back to the Opera web page here. We'll just click on PMS, and that will log us back into the property management system. Okay, as you can see, we have been logged back into the property management system, Opera. Notice at the top, the date has changed to June 2nd. So we run the night audit from June 1st to June 2nd. And now our rooms that were in-house should have room and tax that were posted. Let's take a look. So if we go to cashiering, we go to billing, we put in our password, our Opera password. Since we're logging in for the first time on the new day, it's going to open your cashier. Notice we're in the in-house guest search screen. I click search, and notice some rooms have room and tax attached. If we go to this room, we select the room. Notice room charge, the 2 taxes have been posted. They were posted on June 1st. So the night audit has been complete, and we posted room and tax to everybody that was in-house. Okay, so I'm going to close out. So once you've ran the night audit and the reports have printed, if you ever needed to go back and print any of the night audit reports again, if you go to the end of day button, you have a button for end of day reports. Now the end of day reports are stored on the server, so you can go back to any date and pull up the end of day reports. If I want to see the reports, I'm going to click search. And these are the different reports that I've set up in my night audit procedure. So if I wanted to rerun the trial balance, I could choose trial balance, I could click print, and I could print out the trial balance report. So those are where your reports are stored. All right, we can close out. So now I want to show you, let's see if we can find the no-show. Remember, we had one reservation that did not show last night. So let's go take a look to see where it's located. If I click on reservation and I go to update reservation, if I want to show my no-shows from yesterday, we're going to change the arrival date to yesterday's date. I'm going to click search and see it brings up everything from yesterday. But if I just want the no-shows, I can click on advanced, I can choose no-show and search, and it brings up my one no-show that didn't show up yesterday. Now, if the guest has arrived since you ran the night audit, you notice you have a reinstate button. So if the guest actually arrived, you could reinstate this reservation up to the departure date of 6/3 or whatever their departure date is. You can reinstate it, and then you could check the reservation in. But let's say they no-showed and we want to charge them a no-show charge and charge their credit card. If we want to charge them for a no-show, we're going to highlight the reservation. We're going to click on options. We're going to click on billing. Anytime you go into the cashier module, it's going to require you to put in your Opera password. Notice there's no postings on the billing screen. Your status is no-show. The rate was $275. So we're going to post a no-show charge. Notice it has the no flag on. Do we want to post anyway? I'm going to say yes. We want to post room charge or a no-show charge. If your property wants to use no-show, we can. We're going to post $275. We could put in the reference, no-show. And maybe put the date that they no-showed. So you would have that information. I'm going to click on post. It says there are routing instructions for this transaction code. Do you want to transfer this posting to 9008, the Opera training? And since this person was a part of the group, I'm going to say yes, because we're going to make the group pay for the no-show charge. So I'm going to click on yes. I'm going to close. Notice there's nothing here because we posted it to the posting master. It had routing set up on it. Room and tax to 9008. So now, since that charge went to 9008, we could double check to make sure it went there by going to cashier billing. Put in our Opera password. We want to go to room 9008. Click search. We're going to click select. So here is our no-show charge. There's the no-show, the taxes. If you want to know where it came from, we could double click on the no-show charge, and it showed it was routed from Darren Longsign's room, room 213. Okay. And this is the posting master for the group. So everybody that was staying with this group, notice how the charges routed over to the posting master. If you wouldn't have checked this posting master in before you ran the night audit, there would have been nowhere for these charges to go, and they would have stayed on the guest bill. But since we checked it in ahead of time, all the charges went to the posting master during the night audit process. Okay, so we've completed our night audit. We've posted our no-shows. We checked to see if we had any guests that arrived during our night audit process. And if we had, we could check them in. Just a couple more things that I want to show you. I want to show you in our configuration just what reports we have created or added to the night audit batch reports. So if you wanted to know where those were located at, I'm just going to have you take a quick look at it so you know where they're located. So if I go to Setup and I go to Configuration, And this is all, if you have permissions to this area, you would be able to get to the configuration area. And then once I'm in configuration, if you notice we're in Opera configuration, I can go to Setup, go to End of Day Sequence, go to Reports, and Final Reports. And this just shows you what reports I have set up for my End of Day sequence. So at this hotel, I have these 5 reports: the cashier summary, the guest ledger detail, the package ledger detail, the manager flash report, and the trial balance. And it all depends on what the hotel would like to print out during the night audit process. Now, if they choose to have these reports stored in history and not to print, let me show you how to do that. So we're highlighted on the cashier summary report. If I click Edit, notice there's a little print box here. If I click Print, that would make the report print during the night audit. And if I click File, that would store the night audit report on the server so you can access it at any time. So let's say the hotel wants to store it, but they do not want to print it. So we're going to uncheck the print button and click OK. We go to the guest ledger detail, click Edit. Let's say they want it to file. OK. Go to the package ledger detail report, click Edit, click File, and click OK. And I'm going to do the last 2 also. The spool name is the name of the PDF report that's sitting on the server. So when you go to a file on the server, which you'll learn later on, it stores all these reports on the server and it names them. So you have a PDF file on the server for each report every night that you run the night audit. One more for the trial balance. We want it to file and click OK. All right, in another class, I will teach you how to add more reports to the end of day sequence. So if the hotel requests more reports to be printed, you will be able to add those reports to the end of day sequence. Okay, I'm going to close and I'm going to click Exit and it will take me back to the front, the Opera PMS training hotel. Okay, that ends the class for the night audit.